Iron Stories, Episode 32, Stealthy. Welcome back to another episode of Iron Stories. Last where we have left off, Jebran and Katania finally made it to Whitewood, but instead of resupplying and maybe get a good or well-paid job, they found the place completely ransacked and pillaged. The night before, or maybe 2 nights before, a group of bandits came and stole some supplies, and in the fight that ensued with them, they laid fire to some of the buildings and as well killed some of the villagers. And Jebran and Katania ended up promising them to find them and get at least some supplies back for them, so that they the villagers have something to still have something for the winter, etc., and maybe to give a bit as a reward for them. So they set out to find those bandits, and in doing so, they got help by a local hunter that was keeping an eye on the bandits as they made camp a bit outside of the village, called Smidr. And they, together with him, they went to their encampment, found them there. I think there were 9 of them that are left. So they made a little campsite there, reveling in their stuff that they got from the villagers. And that's what they are. So I decided to run this as a scenes challenge, which is a way to do this. I think I did this already with the fight, or the spiritual fight, some episodes ago. I didn't maybe explain it specifically, but so a scene challenge is basically you have a progress bar as usual, but on a miss you mark a progress or a countdown box, and if you feel like 4 countdown boxes, you have to take the progress move, even though if you might not have that much. So it's a way of giving an urgency to the task, which this as well is. The urgency here, I think, is not directly time that it is of the essence here, maybe a little bit, because of course the night will be at some point over, but it's also, I think, an urgency of how long can they go about undetected. I mean, there are outnumbered 3-1 here. So it's probably best that they try to keep hidden the whole time and not be detected. So their perception, or the bandits' perception, is working against them in this case. It's not so much time, but it's more the perception of them. So I guess first off is maybe, I think Jebran is maybe thinking of himself. They should get to some sort of flanking position, or at least he wants to get a little bit more of the lay of the lands. He is trying to figure out a bit where might the best approach be. I guess Smidr can help him in that, so to say, he knows a bit the surrounding area here. as he is he's local. So so maybe observe a bit the pattern. Are they going to sleep? Are they engaged a lot? Etc. So to see a bit, just to watch for some time, or maybe for 2-3 minutes in this. At least more or less secure there, like behind a bigger rock, and so they can have a look. So he just wants to see, are they in groups together, or is there like some sort of watch that has a lookout, so that they know, okay, they have to like go around there, or are they maybe not paying attention that much because they're maybe drinking or whatever. So he's just trying to first get a bit of a control here to observe what might be their next steps. And to say, I decided that this is a dangerous scene challenge as well, because I think the quest itself is as well, or the WoW itself is also dangerous. They have the advantage of the night, but they are not. They're outnumbered, so which is a disadvantage. So it probably cancels each other out. So it's probably more or less a dangerous challenge here. So in a scene challenge, you basically mostly roll securing an advantage or facing danger. To do that, there might be other things that might work here. But the gist of it is, depending on the move you take and depending on the result of the move you take, you might gain progress as normal on the progress bar, like on undertaking journeys or on sites or on your wows. But if you weak hit most often or take a miss, then you also mark a countdown box, which is this time aspect, or at this point it's the perception disadvantage, or this perception thing that takes a timing, so that you have to move about, that you can just like roll to get the progress bar filled up, and most probably succeed on it. So I'm taking or securing an advantage here with Jebran that just observes for the next maybe 10-15 minutes, just to get an idea on the state of all the bandits, to count them, to count their whereabouts, what are they doing, what is their state, are they going to, as I said, are they going to sleep, are they taking watch, are they drinking, are they concentrating on their surrounding, etc., etc. So he's trying to observe with them, so it's probably going to be in a secure an advantage with plus wits as he's observing. So I rolled a 7 against a 7 and a 1. So I rolled really high on my action die. Actually, I rolled a 5, which with the plus 2 of wits that I get to the 7. But I also rolled really high on my challenge die. So that's a disadvantage. So this is a weak hit, which means in a scene challenge, this doesn't already necessarily mean something. Securing an advantage here just is like the securing an advantage. It doesn't. If you miss here, you will have a countdown. But if you hit like this, you don't get a countdown, or you don't get progress in your challenge, because it's just preparing for you to get ahead in the challenge. But it might give you a disadvantage as marking the countdown. But it gives you an advantage in the sense of you might gain more, you gain more momentum and maybe gaining an advantage on your next roll, so to speak. But on a weak hit with the securing advantage, my advantage is basically just short live, and I only take +1 momentum, which brings Jebran at least to 6 momentum, which is also not that bad because the momentum also is helping him gauge the situation, so to speak, and also makes it maybe even his next moves maybe a bit better. Of course, I don't get the +1, which is a bit not that great, but at least I get some sort of sense. So as I said, Jebran is taking 10-15 minutes to just gauging and observing their surrounding, what they're doing. So I roll here on the action chart or in the action oracle to see what the bandits might be doing during this time. And I rolled as 68, which means restore. I guess what Jebran sees in this 10-15 minutes is just the bandits sitting around the fire, don't paying too much attention to the surrounding. Maybe they might have some passive things about it, so if they're loud, they would probably find that out, but there's just there. Restoring probably means they're just eating maybe some game, maybe some of the supplies that they found. They're drinking maybe mostly water, maybe some alcoholic beverages if they have it. So they're just there, sitting there around. Maybe one of them is already taking a nap because he's exhausted, or maybe he got maybe he's just lazy or whatever. But generally they're just around the fire, their campfire, their supplies stacked around it that they found. I think I also said there's like a cart that they have. They've maybe also stolen it, I don't know, where they have the supplies put on there, and they're just like sitting there restoring a bit, maybe from the fights that they had before. So maybe some of them are having some injuries that are tending to maybe nothing major, but it's just annoying, so that they still keep up a bit. So I guess Jebran and Katania and Smidr are probably thinking about creating a plan, formulating a plan on what they could do. And what I could say as just to find out if the cart with the supplies is facing them or not. So looking from a line of sight perspective, so there is their rock where they are behind, and then in this line of sight then there is somewhere to camp. And now the question is if the cart with the supplies is in between the rock and the camp, or is it after the camp? So is it facing them directly so that they might approach just the cart, just to get some of the cart, maybe sneak off some of the bags and supplies and just move about? Or do they have to like move around the whole camp to get onto the backside of the camp to get to the supplies? So they have to move around. So I say I roll another oracle here to find out if the card is, or if the supplies that they're trying to, if they are between the rock and the camp, or is it after the camp, so to speak. So it's a 50-50 chance. So with a 50, it means yes, it is between them and the camp. And a no means it's behind it. So I rolled a 48 here, so which is obviously lower than 51 or greater. So that means no, which means that it is behind the camp. So it's a bit farther away from them. So they have to move around to get to it, which is also maybe with a disadvantage because they have to move around, as to say. And I think Jebran and Katania and Smidr are talking about this in hushed tones. Say, okay, we need to get around to the supplies, which is maybe bad. And there are underpowered, or they're overpowered by the group of 9 to their 3. So they have to be, of course, stealthy, which they want to be anyway. And Jebran says, I could maybe get 1 or 2 sacks of supplies off the wagon or off there, and Katania can also maybe get 1, so that's at least like 3 sacks of grains they can get to, which is maybe not that much, but at least it's something. Maybe maybe Smidr can also get some of them, so that they have at least some sort of grains with them, which should at least help the village somehow in these times. So I would say, and so that's what they discuss, and they say, okay, we probably have to probably split in 2 groups. The one goes from around to the left, and one goes around the right. So if at least one of the groups is like detected, the other one has the advantage in order to like ambush from a flank. So that's what they guess is at least they're saying, to maybe get a bit of a heads up. Of course, the other one then the other group has to to figure out whatever there is. I guess that probably Smidr is at least somewhat good as a fighter, at least with a bow. At least he's a hunter, so he should be good with a bow, etc. And Jebran, being a bit concerned of Katania, probably says that he should go with her. And also maybe saying a bit, okay, if they come close, Katania is probably able to fend them off for you to get in range. So maybe you stay a bit off a bit of not too far in the distance, so to have the range advantage on them as well. So they decide to split up Katania and Smidr in one group and Jebran in the other group, so to speak. Katania goes onto the left, or approaches from the left, and Jebran approaches from the right. So they trying to move in a wide circle, as I guess, around the camp to get to the back of the camp where the cart is with the supplies. So they're able to get to the supplies from behind it. Maybe also have some sort of like advantage on this if they approach from the dark. So yeah, so so that would be one plan, or they can just split up and attack them from a flanking position, if they're unaware, to maybe get in 1 or 2 shots and be done with it. I mean, they're bandits. How hard can it be, right? So yeah, but I think first off they want to try to get to the supplies, if not anything. So they just try to get to a different position here, to maybe get back up. If they just go around completely, they will meet again in the back. So at least that would be something. So yeah, I would say I start with Katania, and she does a face danger move here. And since she is trying to, or they trying to be stealthy, it is a face danger on plus shadow. Okay, so at least I roll here well. So I have a action score of 6 against 2 5s on the challenge dice, which actually means an opportunity, which is a strong hit. So but I as well get an opportunity. So first off, the strong hit on the face danger means I succeed on whatever I was trying to do, which is sneak around the camp, which I'm successful in. So that's great. So I take +1 momentum on Katania, so she gets up to 3 momentum, which isn't that much yet. And because I scored a strong hit on the on this move, I also get 2 progress on my scene challenge, because it's a normal because that's what it is. So if I score a strong hit on the scene challenge, or on the face of danger, I get progress. I mark progress on my scene challenge, so that's great. So the opportunity, I would say that maybe one of the guys here, and one of the bandits is taking a leak. He has to go to the toilet, so he's marching out of the camp on the side of Katania and Smidr. So he's going out. He's leaving the light area, or the lightened area of their campfire, and goes into the dark to find a bush or whatever to take a leak. Which is unfortunate for him, because he comes across Katania and Smidr as they are walking around, and they see, okay, there's one going out, so there's maybe this is an opportunity to strike, maybe to get one out, so they're getting up in numbers. Should it come to a struggle, they have at least one bandit less to take care about. So I would say that they immediately take another stab here. So the question is if they do so it could be, for example, a battle, which is basically probably the same as face danger when it comes to the thing here. I think I roll another face danger here to just say to find out if they can overpower the guy that is just blatantly there and gets it. I would say, because they got an opportunity, and because they're striking from the shadow, I might give a +1 to the roll, just because it probably makes sense, because they have the opportunity, this advantage through the situation, so they get +1 to the roll at least, which is something like they would get at rent, for example, from security advantage. So that's why giving it that, so because they have this advantage. So the question becomes if it's more plus iron or more plus shadow. I think it's probably plus shadow because they are striking from the shadows. They're not doing it with much force, but they're just like surprising him and just killing him or taking him out that way. So yeah, I'm giving a +1 to the shadow roll on face danger here for Katania. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. That is really bad. I rolled a miss. I only scored a 4 on my action die, and I rolled a 10 and a 4 on my challenge dice. I mean, the 4 itself is already really bad, but having a 10 in the mix as well is really bad. So, first off, this also means that on the scene challenge, I just marked down a countdown box, which just means that I failed something, so I have to do this. Everything takes a dramatic turn, so everything is moving along a step further. And I also have a miss on my face danger, which means that my progress is undermined by a dramatic and costly turn of events. I have to pay the price. And I guess the price here is probably quite clear here. We try to overpower the thing, but maybe they're a bit too clumsily or whatever. And at this point, we probably get discovered, or at least Jebran and Katania and Smidr get found out, get discovered here. So we as he's trying to pull down his trousers, so to speak, to take a piss. Katania is trying to get out of their hiding spot and attacking him, and he's seeing them, and he's quickly pulling back up the trousers, and turning around, and saying something in the lines as, "Guys, we have guests," and he's trying to dart back to the camp to get his sword. He probably didn't take it with him for taking it a league, but he's just moving back, and attacking them. And the others on the campfire, they just drop everything they're doing and grabbing their weapons, and looking at the guy that's coming, the guy that is coming and running towards them, and looking into his direction to see what there might be. Of course, they first have to get up and check it, but they're aware now of something's going on. Somebody is out there. Jebran can hear this. And I guess from his perspective and at his point, he just basically I would say he just goes about it. He just goes in. He's a close combat fighter. He's not much of a he's not one under. He just goes in, and tries to cut down and put down as many as he can. As I said, there's like nine of them there. He's just going in there, and he's just doing battle at this point. He doesn't care. So from the shadows, he lunges out. Takes a quick thing. He maybe also takes the momentum and the surprise of them to kill some of them outright. I don't think they're that hard of enemies at that point. I mean, one or two good blows on their head and they're probably dead or knocked out at least. So that they can get the advantage. So I just roll normally. I don't do a fight here, in a sense. Maybe I could do. I don't know how this goes with the scene challenge at this point in time. It probably gets more complicated. I think I can exchange it. I think I changed this to now to do a combat situation, I guess. So I'm going away from the scene challenge. This has failed utterly. Well, not necessarily. I guess. Well, yes, it has. I guess. It's now full-on combat. Yeah, let's enter the fray with him. I don't think it makes any sense. I think they're still dangerous, even if they're... Well, I guess I moved them up to formidable because there are 9 of them against their 3. So let's enter the fray here with Jebran. He's just dashing out forward from the shadows into them and tries to ambush them. So he enters the fray, ambushes them, so he gets to roll plus wits, which is great for him as a roll for enter the fray for Jebran. So yeah, the challenge moved to a combat of a formidable scale. I removed all the marked progress I have so far, and I rolled really bad. Well, really bad for me at least. So I rolled a 6 against a 10 and an 8. With the 10s today, it's really bad. So he misses completely, and he has to pay the price for it and doesn't have the initiative, which might explain a bit. So he is, I mean, he has to. He tried to get a. He tried to get a. To move around the campfire in a long arc. So as soon as he heard that probably Katania and Smidr got detected as the one guy is running back and yelling, "Hey, we have guests! There's somebody out there," and he sees that they're grabbing their weapons. So he dashes forward. He dashes to the bandits, to the campfire, trying to get to them, to kill them, basically, to use the moment of surprise for his advantage. By doing so, he's giving up his hidden position, and he's probably also going over some tree branches, etc., and makes some noise. And as the bandits are now aware of somebody is out there, they hear this, and he still has to cover quite a distance. So they're blatantly aware of him, and they just turn around and see this guy, and they're able. He tries to land the first blow, but they can just deflect it and hit him away. So he loses, I would say, some of his momentum. Let's give him -1 momentum. So he gets down to 5 from 6. As I said, makes sense. He loses some of his initiative, some of his momentum, so to speak. in doing so, and they're not blatantly aware. They just turn all over him. All the gazes are on him now, which is quite bad, I guess. But this at least gives Katania and Smidr an advantage to enter the fray as well. Since I don't have a character sheet for Smidr himself, I probably just roll for Smidr and Katania together when entering the fray. I will see later on how I handle his attacking. So they enter the fray as well. I guess they also do this plus wits just because they're coming from it's not, they're no longer hidden, so they're probably just trying to ambush from the other side. They're now turning their gaze to Jebran, that is in the middle of their camp now, so now they can maybe also try to ambush them again from the flank, which is at least something that they discussed they could do when they see that one of the groups gets discovered, so they can at least get some sort of advantage here. So they try to ambush as well on their side. So at least I don't no longer roll all the 10s right now. So I rolled a 4 against a 3 and a 6. So this means I have a weak hit, so I can choose one now. I can either take +2 momentum, or I can take the initiative. I would say I think because they missed the attack on the guy from the shadow as he was taking a leak. I would say they probably don't get the momentum, just because they lost that by the guy starting to talk or to alert the others to their position. But I would say at least they get a good head start, so they are able to attack at least. So I would say here Katania and Smidr both gain the initiative from this. So I would say then they can also take an attack. I think Smidr is just go ahead notching an arrow in his bow and taking a shot at them, so striking, I guess. Since he's at range, I don't think he moves up. He rolls his plus edge. Since I said he doesn't have a character sheet, I would say, but since he's a hunter, I guess he has some sort of probably good edge, which is mostly like good aim and accuracy and such things. So I would give him an edge of 2, I think it would, at least, which is a little bit above average. I could also just roll with the edge of Katania, I guess, which is a 1, which isn't that great, but which is maybe even... I would give him a 2 at least. So I roll on strike with Smidr with a +2 on edge. So I roll with plus edge and see what happens. Oh man! This is just utterly bad. I missed here. I rolled a 3 against a 6 and a 4. That means I rolled a 1 on my action die. Which is, of course, a miss. The attack fails. Just the arrow that it's just a hectic moment here. That just, oh shit, we got discovered. As quickly as he tries to get the arrows and such, and not just one and shoots, but it just goes wide, just on the side of the guy that ran back to the camp and tried to warn the others. So I would say at this point, that, and maybe even like in all this excitement, so to speak, some of his arrows fall out of the quiver that he had around him. So they lose some supply. I know this applies to Katania because I roll with her in a sense. So I lose a supply here with Katania, so she gets down to 3 supply. But then I make a strike with her. She still has initiative, so she follows lead and just follows or quickly takes some steps because she was close to the guy that they tried to ambush in the hedges or in the bushes. So she just has to leap a bit forward and at least to get him, to strike him down. So that's why she does a strike, and it's probably in close quarters with her dagger. Maybe with her 2 daggers. Now she has 2 daggers. One is a silver and her keen dagger. So she rolls plus iron on this roll. I see here I could have used my cutthroat combat talent to inflict more harm, but well, I think I did not think about that. Anyway, I rolled a weak hit, a 3 against the 7 and a 2, so I rolled another 1 on my action die. So today the dice are not really for me. Either I roll 10s on the challenge dice or I roll 1s on the action die, so it's not that great. So it means at least I inflict my harm, so I inflict 2 harm here, 1 for the rank formidable and 1 just because I have a deadly weapon. I mean, I have 2 deadly weapons, but this counts as deadly weapons, so this gets another +1 harm. So it's 2 progress against the bandits, which isn't that great, but I as well lose the initiative. So Katania just reacts quickly with her with what she has in reflex. She just goes ahead and jumps, leaps forward to the guy that is turning around and trying to leave to the camp. She's able to just from behind get to him, cut his throat in a swift motion, or at least backstab him, and he gets down. But with that leaping action, she also falls over onto him and just has to get up again. So that in the meantime, some of the group that is just seen Jebran jumping out of the shadows against them now also see her, that she was jumping down, and there's an arrow just moving past them as well, and there's easy. Okay, there is somebody here. They want to take a brawl here. So let's give it to them. So all of them lost their initiative. At least I got to hit or kill at least one of them. But there's still 8 bandits left against only 3 of them. They lost the moment of surprise. So let's see what they can do against them in the next episode, I guess. So, a scene challenge that failed, a battle that ensued now. I hope we hear us in the next episode to see what happens to Katania, Jebran and Smidr.